Hey Internet, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of the John Graves Show. You know, anime really does play a major part in all of our lives, and pretty much when the creator of Evangelion predicts that the death of anime is going to be coming in the next 5 to 10 years, Hideaki Anno really does sort of know how to pretty much paint a major picture for everybody, especially when he goes in, well, necessarily he doesn't talk too much about too many animes or how they plan out their ideas or pretty much or anything like that. He just tends to talk about how they are created and what they do behind the scenes in terms of trying to make them bigger and everything, and also of saying that, like, with what is going on is that, like, if Japan, if they lose the anime community, then other nations in Asia, they will grow to power, and then they'll take the anime lifeblood from them, which is actually rather strange though, because that is a very interesting way to look at it, because I wouldn't necessarily say that the anime industry will die off. If anything, he sort of predicts it being like the video game crash like in the 80s, and thinking about it like that, of saying that, like, it's going to pretty much tear itself apart, and then after that it's going to have to slowly rebuild itself. And, you know, he's pretty much saying that he predicts that if they want to do better, then it's best that they actually try and implement brand new fields into what they're doing now. I mean, come on now. I mean, like, Ruby was an anime which was completely computer generated. I also think, like, and the only other one that really comes to mind is Appleseed in that kids Gundam show, the one that used to come on over here, where they had those 3 Gundams and that kid with the roller skates. But I mean, like, I could see, like, them doing more with actual computers and not necessarily relying so much upon hand-drawn art. But to be perfectly fair with you, though, I could also sort of add to that, because most of the ideas behind many anime, which do necessarily come out a lot, they don't necessarily really challenge one as much as they used to, in terms of, this is a character, and, well, now it pretty much does, like, its basic thing of saying, like, this is a character who's pretty much around, like, the same age as, like, the other supposed heroes, and then they never really branch up in terms of saying, like, either that they're either they're snarky or they're stubborn, or, you know, they don't necessarily do it in a very positive way. I mean, sure, I can say Evangelion is one of those animes which did actually start a lot of those tropes today, but from how it started, I do believe that it was one of the earlier ones to actually do it, because compared to that, I do believe around those times, it was most of the anime was very serious and had a very, like, humanistic type of flow to them, even going as far as to talk about space travel and talk about being cops and talk about hunting vampires as cops. Well, actually, the early 90s had a lot of cop animes going on with it. So, you know, I mean, like, especially talking about animes like Mad City, which were really fucking weird and very violent. So, of course, I mean, even going into shows that are like Devilman and most of the other stuff that really sort of challenged the viewer and sort of did things a lot differently than what you would expect. I mean, even looking at an anime like Berserk, when like your main hero, he has a very tragic backstory of, you know, of pretty much one of his friends killing all of his other friends, and then pretty much, like, sacrificing his friend and trying to sacrifice our main hero so that he can become a demon, and our main character, he loses his arm and then has to go through all these things. I mean, like, that's vastly different from what we have to deal with today, which that most of our main characters are around the same age. They have to deal with the same problems. They gain virtually the same fucking powers, and to be fair, it's like that, there really isn't all that much of a challenge there. I mean, I can compare most of the anime today to Berserk and Claymore, and I'm like, well, these main characters, they had to give up way more than what our main characters have to give up now. I mean, what did most of them really even have to give up? They don't, I mean, like, none of them really show, like, how scarred they are. They never really sort of have, like, all that much of a tragic backstory. I mean, even when they try to be positive, it all sort of feels the same. I mean, I understand that most animes that like, I understand that specific characters that yes, some characters, they are different. They do things very differently from another one. I really understand that, but at their base core, they're not different enough to where I can really say is that, like, okay, this is something in which that I haven't seen before. I mean, sure, they can present it in a way in which I've never seen it before, but really, it's like, I don't really see, like, too many of our characters. I mean, for what is worth, Shinji Ikari is by far one of the most useless characters in any anime. But really looking at it, though, you can still sort of see, like, where he's coming from that, because even back in those days, comparing to what he is now, I mean, sure, he's competent, but he's not mentally competent, which is the thing of how they sort of presented it back in the day compared to now. Now, not only if Hideaki Anno would stop trying to fucking remake Evangelion, like, as much as he is, and actually focus on, like, making something completely different, then, hey, we probably might have, like, a little bit more to go on. But either way, I don't necessarily think that the current state of anime has all that much to really worry about. Because really, even though you do have all these complaints, even though you do probably see is that, like, specific things that they may have problems or whatnot, at the end of the day, it's like, most of these animes, they are actually way more popular, and they are way more thought out than what most of the older shit was back in the 90s. I mean, come on, has anybody ever seen Vampire Hunter D? I mean, it's not bad, but really, that shit right there, it really doesn't have all that much of a narrative. Same thing with Mad City, with its spiking, like, tones of silliness and seriousness. Seriously, I mean, like, no matter what you can say about today, at least animes, they are way more level-headed than what they used to be. So, that is pretty much what I got to say about that. What do you think about it? Tell me in the comment section. I'll catch you on the next John Grave show. Please keep watching anime, keep playing video games. I'm out.